Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to talk about having a stoic, indifferent mindset and also having a outcome independence mindset and why this is a necessity in modern day times. I do believe that it's always been and always will be something that men particularly must contribute more in regards to controlling their emotions, in regards to having an abundance mindset rather than a scarcity mindset. All too often, in my comings and goings of the Matrix, there are so many men that put women on pedestals so easily just because she's pretty, never minding the fact that this chick is a walking red flag. Sure, she's really attractive. Sure, she can get a lot of different kinds of attention towards her. Sure, she is really confident, seemingly, in everything that she does and everything that she says. But why is she doing these things? These are the things that men don't really ask themselves when it comes to women, because women, I don't think you understand how infatuated with beauty men can be and how romanticized men can make relationships. In fact, I do genuinely believe that men are far more romantic and idealistic than women, generally speaking. And the reason being is because men must romanticize, men must have this feeling of idealization because it gives him something to work for. It gives him a purpose of some kind. The issue that comes with romanticism and idealization is when he projects it onto people in the form of idolatry or worshiping others as idols. Look, that woman, I don't know, man, I don't know who needs to tell you this apart from me, but she is not Cleopatra. She is not Venus. She is not the goddess of love. Now, it's okay to have your fantasies. I'm not saying that. Because there is a time and place for understanding that nakedness is not always a perverse thing. In fact, that's the very lesson we learned from the story of Adam and Eve. It's that nakedness is only perverse if you make it perverse. And in modern day times, most people that take off their clothes, more specifically women, they always take off their clothes whenever they're trying to be heard. It's really a miraculous thing to see sometimes. It's like, if you really want to be heard, you don't have to take your clothes off. Women, I don't know who needs to tell you this, but you and your beauty does not, or lack thereof, does not define you and does not define what you are capable of and does not define your worth. This stigma that we have with beauty is in many different ways very positive and also very harmful. I do believe genuinely that beauty, truth, and goodness will contribute to the saving of this society that we live in, if it can be saved, which I do believe it can and will be saved. Humanity will rise. I've seen it. I have had dreams about it. I've had apocalyptic dreams, and I've had very, very heavenly dreams of the future. Again, I'm not considering myself a prophet by any means. I would never do such a thing. However, I can say with great confidence and great clarity that this message that I bring you today is, in part, a revelation that I've had within a dream. But it involves a lot of inner work. It involves a lot of controlling our emotions and letting logic and reason guide us to spirituality. And to be used as a tool in spirituality, not as a means of tyranny. Oftentimes, I've noticed that a lot of people that are deluded and that are in the matrix, they hold two different conflicting ideas at once, and they don't know it. They'll say one thing this second over here, and they'll say one thing this second over here, and it'll be completely contradiction into what they say they believe and what they say they stand for. So what is that? How is it possible for somebody to hold different contrarian belief systems within one's psyche and yet still think oneself sane? You have to be deluded to think so, right? So this is where logic comes into play, and this is where Stoicism comes into play. This is where abundance and control comes into play, and scarcity and incompetence leaves us. Scarcity and incompetence is your worst enemy. It is the absolute defraudulent, or I should say fraudulent, not defraudulent. It is the most fraudulent thing that you can do to yourself, is to convince yourself that you are incompetent of something, or to convince yourself that you are incapable of receiving more to which you have. All too often I see these men out here entertaining harlots. Look, man, I don't partake in this anymore. I don't want to see this being partaken anymore. I don't like seeing my brothers and sisters being used for commodities or used as commodities. It's rather repulsive, to be quite honest. And women, again, your beauty does not dictate how well you can live your life. What matters is how much you bring peace to the ones around you, how much you bring nurturing to the ones around you. And if the people around you are not receiving of that peace or receiving of that nurturing thereof, then you must learn how to walk away, women. You must learn how to walk away. And men, you must learn how to walk away from these relationships that are not bringing you peace and that are actually causing chaos in your life. Sure, they may be fun. Sure, they may be attractive, these women that you're dealing with. But I do think that it's better to be with a woman that is not necessarily as attractive, but brings you peace and brings you prosperity and brings you nourishing energy and spiritual healing. Anything less than that, I don't even care to really be around. I don't really even care to want to be around. And the reason being is because I am not outcome dependent. I'm outcome independent. And I have learned through years of meditation and mastering my emotions that Stoic indifference is the key to many different trials and tribulations of life. Stoicism does not mean repressing your emotions. Specifically, it does not mean repressing anything that you feel or think. Stoicism is derived, is encumbered by the ostentatious feeling of having control over who you are and what you do. So the thing that you must understand as a person that is practicing Stoicism is to understand that you do not have to repress anything that you feel or think. It's a matter of redirecting your energy, redirecting your resources, redirecting your time that you use to better things. And honestly, one of the most useful things that I found to do in my life is to stay busy and do things from dusk until dawn every single day. It doesn't matter where I'm going. It doesn't matter where I've been. It doesn't matter how tired I am. It doesn't matter how energized I am. I will do what I must do for that day, come hell or high water. And no, it's not always fun. No, it's not always pleasant. There are days that I get up to go to the gym at 4:30, 5 o'clock, and I look at my outfit that I'm going to wear to the gym, and I think, fuck this, and then I still go. There are days when I do not want to work, but I have a duty. This is another thing that I've also noticed in society. We've forgotten the word of honor. We've forgotten the word of duty. Now, I'm not trying to be a white knight here. I'm not trying to tell you to be a white knight here either. I'm just saying that there used to be such a thing as having honor and dignity in everything that you do, and discipline. This practice is not outdated. It is not old, so old that we need to reform it. This is something that we need to return to. This is something that, like a tree, we are, as a society, like a tree that once had roots twining around hard rocks, twining around hard dirt, and now everything's gone soft. The tree itself, the wood in the tree, is starting to be moldy. It's not looking good. We have to return to our roots. And we have to water our roots once more. And having an abundance mindset to where you can trust that your emotions will not get the better of you. There was a comment on a recent post that I saw on one of my videos where the commenter said that they had a saying at their old job, and it was if you want it real bad, it's probably going to be real bad, something like that. And I think that was very wise. I think that is something that all people should take into account, is that if you want it really bad, it's probably going to be real bad. Now, what exactly does that mean? Well, it means that you might have to suffer, or it means that in attaining that what you want might be more trouble than it's worth. So understand the desire that you have, and understand that the purpose is to understand the desire and not the desired, right? Nietzsche had a quote about desire, and it goes something like, "It is not the desired that is loved, but the desire." So, and Nietzsche also considered himself the last student of Dionysus. Dionysus was a Greek god. For those of you that do not know, Greek god of wine and pleasure, and there were two main Greek gods that encompassed the masculine archetypes, generally speaking, in regards to how the psychology went about. And you can think about this as like Captain America and Iron Man as well. You can think about this as Dionysus and Apollo. So Apollo was god of the sun, a very righteous god, a very pure god, whereas Dionysus was more of the very fun and also very studious in his own way, but also was very reliant, maybe not reliant is the right word, but very much enjoyed pleasure and knew how to enjoy pleasure. And so you can you can think about this as Captain America as Apollo and Iron Man as Dionysus in regards to the male archetypes of the masculine imperative. So the masculine imperative is one of two kinds generally. It is the Iron Man that is the showy, charismatic, really fun, outlandish, but still wants to do good for mankind. Anybody that plays Dungeons and Dragons or that has played Dungeons and Dragons would call this chaotic good as the character type, whereas Captain America is more of a neutral good or lawful good. I would err more on the side of neutral good, but that is also Apollo. He's neutral good. This is the type of men that are usually around when they reach their maturity levels anyway. So I would consider myself more of a student of Apollo than a student of Dionysus. But I do value a lot what Nietzsche has to say, and I do value a lot of what Carl Jung has to say in regards to his psychoanalysis of Apollo and Dionysus and how he interpreted everything that happened with Nietzsche. But these are the kinds of men that we can admire. Now, I don't want to idolize anybody, and I'm not going to encourage you to idolize anybody either. But I want to encourage people to understand that they don't have to have a scarcity mindset. But also, when a good thing comes to you, don't push it away. Don't push it away like a fool. Okay? Don't always think, can I do better? Can I do better? Sometimes we can, sometimes we can't. And I understand that specifically as a woman, you're going to want the best of the best always. And I don't care how much you deny it, women. I know it's true because your actions speak much louder than your words. And this goes for anybody, but specifically that part was a message towards women. And men, your actions speak louder than words too. But you have to create that value. You have to create the reason to be better. You have to create your own reason to be better. That is the difference. So I hope this message was useful and insightful. And may peace be with you. Till next time.